let's check out what Atozi says after the trial. With Mr. Ramsey Khalid Ishmael.
Like last time, things went awful for Johnny. This time, it went terrible. He even got humiliated in court. I mean, it was really bad from the start. And just to start things off, I'm going to run through the whole trial so you guys kind of get a picture of how things were, even though you guys weren't there. So there was a few people there. There wasn't that many people this time. But Johnny at 3:59, Johnny's lawyer came in. So right on time for the trial and so on. Then at 4, a woman walked in who apparently was a witness. We didn't know of her. We hadn't seen her. We were assuming that Bong Bong was going to testify today, but apparently not.
Okay, that's what it was.
At 4:03, Hank walked in. And that also confirmed that Hank is still associated with Johnny.
Oh, okay. So
then,
Hank is still associated with Johnny.
4:05, so this is 5 minutes after his trial started. Johnny was still not there. So Hank.
So that picture. So that picture with
him. They
him.
don't know where Johnny is. So then.
But are they still living? The thing is, are they still living with each other, or did Johnny find other arrangements?
Here, let's see. 1 second. Then we have at 4:07, Johnny then walks in, this time respectfully, in a fitting suit. It seems like Johnny realized how bad things were and finally took the cue.
Yeah, I saw that photo of him and Hank. So he finally got a clean suit, right? He finally got a fitting suit.
Everyone sits down, or everyone stands up, judge walks in, everyone sits down. Okay, court starts. So then at 4:12, Johnny then confirms that he is still a quote-unquote student and that he still actually lives at Hank's house.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting because Hank is going on to say, oh, Johnny does not live with me. I do not help Johnny anymore. I'm not associated with him anymore. Apparently, that's not true. So then we have the 8 charges that he's currently facing. Right. I have Gabe with me here, who's been helping me.
So apparently they're just lying about some shit, but they're still helping each other.
And so on. So shout out to this man for being here. But essentially, so there's the first charges they talked about were it was the business obstruction charges. And they were related to the buses, correct?
This is the new charge that they announced today. So this is the one that we didn't know for sure, but I predicted was going to be the bus incident on the 27th.
So it was the buses, Lotte World.
Was it 7011 bus, or was it 7013A?
It was 7011 and 7013A.
Okay, and then you had another bus 20. Oh, so it was a 2024 incident. That's why it was bus 2024. Okay,
yes,
so that's okay.
This is something that happened in 2024.
Okay.
So that's why, that's also why they're adding it to this case, among many reasons, is because it was all around the same time. So they consider this a crime spree.
Okay. And so the first 2 disturbances, so the first bus, that was for playing NK propaganda on the bus. And then the second one was for just text-to-speech donations and just, disturbing the peace on the bus.
Yeah, just being disrupting the peace.
Yes.
Causing a disturbance, and also the live streaming, that in itself they consider to be a disturbance. That, making other people feel uncomfortable if you have your camera. Like, right now we're here, we're not putting people in the frame, right? If you're on a bus, you're live streaming other people as well. Yeah. So that's considered a disturbance as well.
So then at 4:15, you had that moment where they went, oh, if you change the time, we plead guilty here. And that didn't fully make sense to me. So, what was that about? Because that was what Johnny's team said.
It's very common for an accusation to have some small mistake, like it be a date or a time or a location. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
If you say no, it wasn't this day, it was that day. It's still a crime.
Still around the same. You're right. Still around the same time frame. It doesn't matter.
Brought that up.
Right. Okay. No matter which day you did it on, it's still around the right. You still did this thing on whichever day, right?
He admits to everything.
You have it on. You did it on camera, regardless of which day it was. It's around the same area.
He pled guilty for all the obstruction charges. So all 4 obstruction of business charges, he pled guilty for.
Right.
Then, so because of that plea, then the witness got up and left because they no longer needed her to testify against him because we're assuming that the witness.
Oh, okay. So the witness was one of the people from the bus. Okay. Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah, when she turned around, I recognized her from the video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
100%. I recognize her from the video.
Okay. So then you had the whole deepfake charges. So the lawyer then said that Johnny was intoxicated. So they used him being intoxicated as an excuse for why he distributed those.
Their number one argument is that, this was his lawyer.
Intoxication is not a defense. You see it all the time. People try to say, "Oh, I was intoxicated."
Yeah.
You
And he keeps
can't.
saying, "Oh,
That's
I
not a
gave you the
defense.
evidence," or,
You
"Oh,
can
I'll
never
tell you
get
later."
out of that.
But finally, they got him to make an argument, and his number one argument was he did not produce the deepfakes, even though I think he probably did. Right?
Yeah, I mean, he
did
probably
not
did.
produce the deepfakes. All he did was to distribute them. So
But
he admitted
no
to
matter what, you
distributing them.
distributed. You
Right.
You did.
Okay.
You
So, yeah, so that's
facilitated
essentially
something
what
that
happened.
you
Yeah.
weren't
He
supposed
is
to.
insisting on a not guilty plea. So it looks like his lawyer or somebody was able to convince him that the low tech world charge was a lost cause. And so they, so that's what Johnny gave.
Interesting.
Guilty plea, changing the plea from not guilty to guilty for low tech world,
Yeah.
but insisting on not guilty for the deep fakes.
Okay. And then that's when a new dialogue started, because that's when the prosecution wanted to bring in witnesses for the deepfakes, and Johnny's lawyer did not want witnesses involved at all.
Right.
So then, what happened after they didn't want witnesses? What did the judge say, and how was the reaction of the court then?
This was interesting. He, since he got overruled when he tried to block the witnesses.
Yeah.
They do not want Bong Bong to testify. They don't want Yoman. They don't want either of them to.
Yeah, they don't want. Yeah,
Okay.
they don't want them
Yeah.
to testify
We've known that for a long time.
because
But,
they are the
he's
ones
actively trying to
directly
block them,
involved
and he was
with it
overruled.
because they know what's going on.
But since they're having the witnesses, the lawyer requested more time than usual
Okay.
to examine them.
So
Why?
What's a normal time to examine someone, you think?
It depends on the case, and then all that they'll set it. And for this, they set 15 minutes for the defense for the lawyer to interview the
Okay.
witnesses. They set 15 minutes, and since he couldn't block it, he wanted more time with the witnesses, which means if they can't block the witnesses, they really want to grill them. So he might be planning on going all in on Bong Bong.
Oh, wow. Okay, so is it Johnny's lawyer that's grilling Bong Bong, or the prosecution that's grilling Bong Bong?
It'll be first the prosecution for 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
then next is Johnny's lawyer for 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then the judge might ask some questions as well.
And then you have another witness as well. So it'll be times two, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Interesting.
Then another times two because they're going to do a translation for everything.
Oh,
So
wow.
that making
Okay.
it twice as long. Yeah.
Okay. And that's happening in October. And then other than that, so then you had
That one's
what were the
October
minor
29th,
crime
they
charges? Were
said?
they ever brought up during this case or trial?
That is settled that the plea is guilty.
Okay.
So, minor crimes, and now we can say obstruction of business. The plea is guilty for 6 charges.
Okay. Interesting. And so overall, how was Johnny's lawyer?
Flustered, definitely out of his depth. I kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah.
I know he was pressured by Hank's family to be a part of this case, and I think he's trying to do his best to balance between Johnny and normalcy.
Yeah.
Sane, actual normal procedure.
Yeah. And how is the prosecution handling this case, you feel like?
I mean, obviously very professional.
Okay.
Right.
So would you consider them to be pretty aggressive on this case, or how would you rate it?
Yes, I would say today they were aggressive on it. The paradox is how can you simultaneously admit to having distributed?
Yeah.
Which is the crime that he's
Yeah,
accused
which is
of,
the crime.
and
Yeah, for
insist
them
on
that's
this
the
not guilty
crime,
plea.
right? Distribution.
That's insane. That's just, it's thinking, the more I
Right.
think about it, the crazier it is.
You're
But
gonna
yes,
be
what we
like,
just witnessed
Oh no,
was
I
this
didn't make
this
it, but I
lawyer
did distribute.
using Johnny's argument.
Yeah.
Saying basically,
Interesting.
I didn't make it, so I'm not guilty. Even though, again, I think he did.
Yeah.
And also, the whole charge is for the distribution. So they're like, oh, we didn't make it. I did distribute it, though. But I was drunk. That's essentially what we're seeing
Yeah.
unfold.
Correct.
Yes, that's the mental illness that we saw happen.
Oh, I
Well,
was
his lawyer
drunk.
was very
I was
flustered,
drunk,
turning
Your
red,
Honor.
stuttering. I don't think he
Fucking
has a natural
stupid.
stutter like Hank, but he does have a strange way of talking.
Yeah.
But he definitely seemed very uncomfortable.
Interesting. Did the judge give any reaction to this, or was he confused, or how was the judge reacting to this?
The judge, as usual, is very,
I would
sort
look
of above
puzzled
everything,
if he told
above
me,
the fray,
"Oh, I was
and
drunk when I
was
did
very
this."
calm in his conversation with
So
the
what?
process, but he's also the one who
Ah.
said, no, you cannot block these witnesses, and no, you cannot extend your, interview time with them.
Right.
Cross-examination.
Wow. Do you have any other overall thoughts on this trial?
That was crazy. That was just insane.
And
There's all this stuff. There's so much stuff that's just unprecedented. It's stuff you just don't do.
okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
this
it's
is just
literally
absolutely
just
not a
don't
normal
fucking
trial.
do it, and he just does all the wrong things.
Really? Okay, so it is just a full-on clown fest.
It's a clown fest.
Okay.
It is absolutely
Yeah,
a clown
it
fest.
sounds like it.
If you were going to give a prediction of like how the prosecution was and like from previous cases
clown
you've seen in Korea, what do you think the most likely sentence that he will get from all this is?
At this point, I think the prosecutor is going to say something like 4 or 5 years. Maybe
Wow. Okay.
Because of Johnny's insistence.
Yeah.
And because of his insincerity with
So
his
they say 4 to 5 years because
And
of
now,
his
I mean,
insistence.
finally,
That's
he's
interesting.
locked in, but it also seems like it's kind of too late to start acting like he's actually sorry. Because he didn't actually act like he was sorry today. He was just being respectful. He was being a normal person today, from what I saw. And that's really it.
Yeah,
The bar is really set low.
He
But,
finally
hey,
hunkered
it is
down.
what
Was
it
like
is.
it finally set in.
But yeah, I think that's
Right.
all for
Reality
now.
set in.
I'll be making a full video soon. What would you say?
Hank was fine. Johnny's behavior was fine.
Yeah.
Lawyer, just feel bad for that guy.
Well, that's it. Thank you guys
That's
for the support.
unfortunate. Yeah, that's
and,
that's
I'll
a
see you guys
shitty
when I make
position
a
to be
full
in.
long-form video
Yeah,
on this.
for
I'll see you next one.
yeah, I wouldn't want to be that
Peace,
lawyer.
guys.
Fucking hell, to try and help this guy who keeps fucking around like that. Jeez. That is a headache. And then let's see what Mr. Lawyer says. Mr. Shasta Lawyer. Legal mindset, legal dick sucker. Good Ethan Ralph bullshit. Shasta Lawyer.
Khalid Ismail, aka Johnny Somali, had a disastrous day
He did.
in court today. Where pretty
It sounded
much
like he had a very
everything
bad
that could go wrong
time.
went wrong. There were some surprises, some twists, and we had some updates after my coverage to bring you today. Some extra information, some extra, a little extra spice to make it even worse.
Man,
And
when
of
you
course, we're
fuck
gonna
around
cover
and
this all
find
on
out,
the
yeah, I
Legal Mindset
guess.
with James Beyond Judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney who's been covering the Somali Ramzi Khalid Ismail saga, the criminal saga in Korea from beginning
also,
to end.
don't forget to give
boy,
give
we
a
were
like
waiting for
and
this
subscribe
trial
to
date for months,
Atozy,
and it did
as
not
well as Legal
disappoint.
Mindset.
This was the most crazy, dramatic day to date, and also the longest to date, at clocking in at a little over 25, 26 minutes, which compared to last hearings, which only lasted 10, 5, 15 minutes, was actually a lot. And there were a ton of legal mistakes, blunders, omissions, confessions, things that absolutely turn this case against Ramzi Khalid Ismail and make it look really, really bad. Of course, this is the fast facts version, getting you the quick and dirty version. If you guys like this, please let me know in the comments below, and make sure you leave a comment and like the video. All right, so let's get into the PowerPoint, because of course I have one. This is the recap of the trial today, August 13th, 2025. Now, pre-trial, this is in Seoul, South Korea, same courtroom, same place. It was a rainy day. The courtroom was packed. This Korean media was there. The Somali conviction team was there. Hank was there. There was also a kick streamer there to watch it as well. Of course, nobody allowed to do video or audio from the courtroom. However, we did give you live play-by-plays, because there are ways to do that. Ramzi Somali was late by a few minutes. Hank, when Ramzi's lawyer
I thought
went
he'd
to
be
find him,
late,
so Hank went out to find him.
extremely
Ramzi's
late.
lawyer went out to
Just a
find
few
him.
minutes.
Eventually, they did find him. When he came in, he was dressed in a suit. He had a nice buzz cut. You're going to see photos of him later, but he looked gaunt. He looked thin. He had deep circles around his eyes.
He's
It was
having a bad
described that
time.
his deep circles had circles. He also was resigned.
That means he's
He
having
did
a
not
bad
make
time.
faces.
He's not
He
sleeping
didn't look
well
around
if
at
he
the
has
crowd.
deep circles.
He didn't stick out his tongue like he did in previous engagements, previous court dates. So he had a huge attitude shift going forward into this date. There was also a new interpreter sworn in. Last time there were interpreting issues, we had a new one, and the reviews from everybody, including people who spoke Korean and were doing translating for the Somali conviction team, was this translator was excellent. Not just good, excellent, perfect, 10 out of 10. Great interpreter, which was amazing. So let's talk about, first of all, the first thing that came up was, did Hank lie? Now, Hank, in an interview recently with K-Town Social Club, said that Ramsey is no longer living with him. And
Yeah,
Ramsey gave
so
Hank's
yeah,
address
we
in
don't
court.
know what
So
his living
either
situation
Hank was
is.
lying on that interview or it's contempt of court. It's contempt of court. That's an additional crime that he's committing there.
Yeah, if
Or
he's
Hank is
not
lying. I'm not going
being
to say which way
upfront
it is. You
about
guys
his
can kind
living
of make up your mind.
situation, yeah,
Most
that's
people
not
seem
good.
to think it's probably a lie to throw them off the trail, but who knows? We don't really know. Hank also appeared to be distancing himself from Somali in a recent interview, but he sat in the front row. He
Yeah,
went to
apparently
find
he was in
Ramsey,
the
and
front
he
row.
escorted him home with the lawyer in a cab. So he essentially was
So
right there
apparently
winging
he's
him the
still with
entire
them.
time. And right now we're going to get into the next part, which was a disaster, which was Ramsey's lawyer. Now, this is not to say he's incompetent or there's anything in terms of skill. Once again, as a lawyer, even if you're an amazing lawyer, you can
Yeah,
be handed a
it's
bad
hard to
case.
get him out of
The
this
other thing that's
situation,
going on
right?
here is if
This
the
lawyer's
client
doing the best he
tells you to
can for
argue
whatever,
something,
right, for
you
his
kind of
case,
have to
and
argue it,
right,
even
Somali
if you
isn't
don't
helping
want
his
to.
case either
So if the
because he
client
keeps
says, hey,
fucking
I want to
around.
plead not guilty, but you don't really have any evidence, you don't have any backup, the
Yeah,
argument really
yeah,
doesn't
you don't
work,
have the
well,
evidence
you
to
have
back
to
it
go
up
with
and
that. And even
everything.
a
Yeah,
really good
that doesn't
lawyer,
look
even an amazing
good.
lawyer, can kind of be put in a bad place. And I kind of feel bad for Ramsey's attorney
Yeah, it's like
because it's
you
very
put all
clear
these
that
claims
Johnny and
and then
his
you say you're
fools
not
on Discord,
guilty, and then
etc.,
you don't
are
have
feeding
you
these
you didn't even
arguments in that
compile
just do
any
not work in
evidence or
court. They're not
anything.
Korean
Like,
lawyers.
what
They
have
don't know
you
Korean
been
law.
doing this whole
Johnny's
time?
not a Korean lawyer,
Right?
but he's trying
You're
to
supposed
force
to
these
you're
arguments that
supposed to
just
provide
don't work in the
arguments for
Korean
your
system,
case, but you're
and
not
it
doing
led to a
you're
lot
not doing
of
a good
losses
job, dude.
today. Loss
Ugh.
after loss after loss. There was not a
Yeah,
single
you're not doing
win,
a good
even
job. It
procedurally,
sounds
even
like you
small
want to be
victories
put in
for
jail.
the Somali
It
team. So let's
sounds like
talk
you
about that.
did
So right
it
off the
sounds like
bat,
you
the first
did the
thing in the
deed if
hearing
you're not
was the
actually
judge
fighting for
asked
yourself.
Ramsey's lawyer for any specific evidence on the crimes Ramsey pled not guilty to. So
Beta.
specifically the deepfakes. We're talking about the deepfakes for which he pled not guilty. So the judge says, hey, what evidence do you have? And the lawyer was completely flustered by this. He could not answer. He said, hey, we submitted that to the court. So, you should have that, right? But he couldn't, when pressed, give any of the information, any defense at all. He couldn't remember any specifics. That's not good. Now, what may have happened here is Johnny may have had this packet of information, perhaps the dossier prepared by his Discord, which was submitted to the judge or submitted to the court. However, didn't really memorize that, didn't really go through it. Maybe he's busy, maybe didn't have time, maybe didn't understand it. Who knows? We don't know what's going on, but that was a very bad look and did not look good in court. Beyond that, Ramsey's lawyer tried to complain about late notice and procedure, and he tried to kind of make it sound like the prosecution was doing something bad or untoward or unofficial or breaking the rules. And now the prosecutor, and I have been in this courtroom, I've seen the prosecutor. The prosecutor looks like a very nice, mild mannered, calm guy. I watched him an entire day in court cases. I sat in another day and watched like 6, 7 trials. This guy never was aggressive. He never got angry, was very calm and collected, very professional. But all the reports from the courtroom today, and I went over several after the stream, I asked several sources, I said, hey, was this what happened? And they said, yes. He aggressively countered Ramsey's lawyer in a way in which is not typical for a prosecutor to normally do. Pretty much, Ramsey's lawyer was saying, hey, you're doing something wrong. And the prosecutor got up and said, oh, hell no. And excuse my language, or I'll put some in the swear jar, but said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. All notice we gave was proper. Everything was legal. We followed the procedure. And the judge quickly stepped in and took the side of the prosecutor, not Ramsey's lawyer, overruled Ramsey's lawyer and said verbatim, this is not an issue, move on. So absolute procedural L, massive procedural L for Ramsey's lawyer. Going beyond that, there was the new charge, the charge of the additional obstruction. That's once again, the fourth charge, the 4th obstruction charge that was coming up. It was revealed that this new charge, was for conduct on 2 Seoul buses on September 27, 2024. Now, this was they stated stuff like playing loud music in TTS and playing North Korean propaganda. Now, mind you, he is not charged under the terrorism statute, under the terrorism law. He's still charged under obstruction of business. So it doesn't change the nature and make him guilty of terrorism. However, it does conclude that they were factoring in the fact that he was playing North Korean propaganda. They know, and they were listening to that. It says that deserve the
Oh, that was like
passengers,
on
it
the first
disrupted
bus.
operations, and ultimately for a obstruction of business. If
So
you
yeah, so we had
disturb
the
normal
loud
operations
music,
of
the
business, you are guilty.
propaganda,
So
and
therefore,
then the
Ramsey knew he was
disrupting
dead to rights
passenger
on this and pled
operations.
guilty to this new obstruction charge. So
And
once
then you
again,
had Lotte
another
World.
guilty in the bucket. Now we're going to talk about the other things that he pled guilty to. So previously, Ramsey had pled not guilty to the Lotte World charge. That is going into Lotte World, causing a scene, disrupting the ride, causing the ride to close. So we had a huge surprise today. We thought the witness for today was going to be Bong Bong. Everybody thought that, myself included. And you know what? I was wrong. Look at that. I'm admitting I was wrong here. It was actually the witness that was a staff woman from Lotte World.
The,
who
the
repeatedly
staff
told
woman
Ramsey
from
not
Lotte
to film.
World.
She was actually quite disturbed by the fact that he would not stop filming. And you could see that in the video, in the original video. I've reviewed that video. I'm not going to show her because I don't want to put her face out there and make it, put any pressure on or anything else. But you can see in her face that she was not happy about it. And she showed up. And Ramsey changed his plea to guilty on the Lotte World charge. He may have been gambling that the Lotte World witness would no-show and saying, okay, if the witness no-shows, then okay, we can go and not guilty because she's going to no-show and not be there. However, she showed up and was highly motivated to be there. So big shout out to Lotte World. Big shout out for filing this charge. This is one that a lot of members of the SC team, my team, worked really, really hard to see if we can get pressed, to see if we can get in there. And big shout out to the people that helped out, especially people like Bang TV and the others in Korea that really helped press this charge. So because he changed his plea from guilty to not guilty, he now has 6 confirmed guilty charges. 4 obstruction of business and 2 minor crimes act. So he is a confirmed repeat offender, repeat criminal with all of these. And once again, each charge stacks up the amount of time he can be in jail. At this point, the maximum is 12 years. However, even the default, even the standard punishment would be over 4 years in jail. Even if they don't give him the aggravated maximum of 12 years, the standard, the non-aggravated is 4 years.
So that's why in the Atozi video they said like 4 to 5.
Now, one important
he's
thing
probably
is
going to get
Ramsey's
like
lawyer seems
possibly
to think
5
obstruction
years.
and all this is a joke. He actually was
Because
scoffing and
it's
laughing,
now
etc.,
elevated
when they were
to
talking
4
about
to 12
obstruction.
years
Like, oh, it's not a big
possibly.
deal. This is a big deal, and people have gone to jail for years in Korea for this. Absolutely. So now we have it here, like we said, 4 guilty for obstruction of business, guilty on the Minor Crimes Act, and not guilty on the deepfake.
7-Eleven, 3 buses.
He's going to have to fight this at the next trial.
7-Eleven, 2 buses,
there's sufficient
and then
evidence to find him guilty on the deepfake count. We're going to talk about that next. But now we know the 4th count is for the bus.
the rotting fish harassment, and then another. The other bus.
So he's kind of got 2 obstructions
3
for the bus,
buses total.
one for Lotte World and one for 7-Eleven. This is not just about a cup of noodles, folks. This is much more than a cup of noodles. Going on, let's talk about the deepfakes. And the deepfake is the crime that Johnny Somali fears the most. He's scared to death because this is one
you
that
don't want that
absolutely
one.
carries
That
prison
one's
time
real bad.
right off the bat. The statute will not allow for fines. It's straight to prison, no other option. Now, the deepfake was a disaster for Johnny's defense.
He's playing with fire on that one.
They pretty much confessed. Let's talk about this. So Ramsey's lawyer argued that Ramsey doesn't know how to make
basically
a deepfake,
in the Asian countries, deepfakes are way worse, right?
It takes 2
like
seconds
disparaging
one
disparaging one
anybody
status,
can make a deepfake, and Ramsey is certainly capable of it. But beyond that,
right, faking shit like that, they take that.
The lawyer said makes him innocent. The lawyer said he didn't make it, so because he didn't make it, he's innocent. But
They're
the
very strict
prosecutor
on that
immediately countered. Once again, getting up there, getting in their face. Great job by the prosecution. Amazing performance. Said, so you deny making the deepfake, but you admit, you confess to distributing, which is publishing the deepfake. Ramsey's lawyer said, well, he was drunk. I
can't believe his lawyer has to make that kind of argument. That's rough, man.
First of all, there is no I was drunk defense in the statute.
That's rough. I can't believe his... I'm sorry. His lawyer actually had to make that argument. That's rough.
So being drunk is not at all going to mitigate this or make this better or make him not guilty. That is not going to work at all. But the bombshell admission is the admission of guilt as to production. It's not relevant
because it's the
only
distribution
thing
that matters.
that's relevant is that Ramsey distributed or published it, meaning whether or not Ramsey made it is irrelevant. And just to prove that, let's look at the statute here. Now, I know this language is small. This is the full statute. I want you guys to know he's really going to be hit under number 3 or number 4 here.
I think in the U.S. system, it's kind of the same way. Regardless if you didn't produce it, you still distributed content that you weren't supposed to. Right, you still distributed the illegal material. You are still under the law.
He was streaming and making money, shall be punished by imprisonment with labor for not more than 7 years. It also says somebody who habitually commits this can have it aggravated.
You're still liable.
So that's a big one as well. So he's going to be charged under 3 or 4 here. But this one, he obviously made profit. And we got to read paragraph 2 to find out, okay, what does it describe the crime as? Well, what's the crime? Does it say a person who makes a deepfake? No. It actually doesn't say that, although it does have in another statute in number 1, a person who edits it, synthesizes, or process. But number 2, it says a person who has published. The only thing that's important to the crime is that he put it on screen. And because he has now confessed, he put it on screen in the eyes of the judge and the prosecutor. It's done. It's a shut case. It's over, baby.
Yeah, basically streaming it on your live stream. That's essentially publishing it.
And we're going to talk about the witnesses in a second.
Right, me streaming right now. This is essentially publishing. Right, legal mindsets working.
We have him dead to rights on this crime, which is what I predicted, and I've been saying for the past almost year. When I've been talking about the deepfake crime, saying, "Hey, look, it doesn't matter what his excuses are. It doesn't matter who Bong Bong is or Youngman is or whether they're bad people." Youngman, one of the streamers who is the cause for one of the deepfakes, is in jail right now. So clearly he's done some bad things.
Oops.
But that doesn't matter. All that matters is Johnny published a deepfake of Youngman and Johnny published a deepfake of Bong Bong.
Yeah, these people are going to be suffering for a while.
So let's continue here. There was a huge loss, once again, another disaster regarding the witnesses. So Ramsey's lawyer was fighting tooth and nail not to allow the deepfake witnesses. He did not want those deepfake witnesses to come in. That would have been disastrous for him in his mind. Well, the prosecution argued that since Ramsey admits distribution but denies production, the witnesses have to be allowed. They must be allowed for arguing back about the production. The judge sided immediately with the prosecution and allowed the witnesses. Said, no. If you're still fighting this, if you're still pleading not guilty, we're going to allow the witnesses. Now, Ramsey's lawyer went beyond that. So once again, another
because it's like you can't, right?
Now Ramsey's lawyer said,
you can't just say no witnesses to just saying not guilty. Like what? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Because at the end of the day, right, you put this person in harm's way. What do you mean no witnesses?
I want extended cross-examination. Instead of the standard 15-minute cross-examination of each witness, I want 25 minutes. The judge denied Ramsey's request. Guys, this is massive. In Korean procedure, in discussing this with lawyers and people experienced with the process, this almost never happens. Typically, if they request this, they give it. This is the judge telling Ramsey to cope and cede. It's saying, we don't think your defense has enough. It's not worth it to give you 25 minutes. It's not going to prove anything.
Also they weren't they like supposed to like be compiling evidence too as this was going on, and they haven't been doing that. So it's like they've been shooting themselves in the foot ever since they started.
It'll probably go, about an hour.
Right, you don't just not compile evidence to plead your case.
Just has 15 minutes, and we'll see what he does with those 15 minutes. It probably is going to be pretty crazy.
That's so fucking retarded. You're in fucking legal combat right now, and you're all like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna help myself. I'm just gonna sit here and do nothing."
So Ramsey quickly left with Hank and his lawyer. They did not interact with media streamers. They avoided the kid streamer, Paul Risen, who attempted
shooting
to
himself
interview
in
them.
the foot
And
like
the
every
streamer,
step of the
appeared to
way.
be anti-Somali generally, so maybe Somali knew that.
Man.
But what I'm saying is he wasn't interacting. In the past, he was cursing at people, he was taking interviews, he was saying stuff.
Yeah, I
he
think
was
finally,
smiling,
right.
smirking. Now he
Ever
quickly
since he
ran to
shot,
get the
dude,
cap. He
I
wants nothing to do
honestly,
with the
he's
media.
done so
It
much
reflects that I
damage to
think he
himself
realizes
already. Like,
this
and
is
he's trying
serious
to
and
fix
he's
it
about
now.
to
No,
find out. He
there's
realized
no
this
way,
was
dude. He's already
absolutely
done too
a
much damage
massive
to
loss
himself.
for him today. Then other news is the next
The
trial
fucker took a
is
shotgun
October
and blew off
29th,
his
same
leg, man.
courthouse, 2 p.m. So right before Halloween,
Oh
we're going to
my
have a
goodness.
spooky surprise for Somali. And the deepfake witnesses will be called next time,
Bong
Bong and
Mung
Youngman. So
and
they will be
Youngman.
called
Oh.
to testify
Well,
on
I'm
October
pretty sure he's
29th.
done.
So
Yeah,
we
I'm
thought
pretty
they were
sure
going to come
he's
today.
out of here.
Bong Bong was going to come today. It's no. So Bong Bong and Youngman will be
But
coming at the
the
next
dude
trial. So that should be
showed
something to look forward to.
no,
Will be
like,
absolutely insane
any
to see
modicum
what
of trying to,
Ramsey's
like, plead
lawyer
his
tries to
case. He
question
wasn't
him.
even
I
trying to
want to know what you
fight
guys
for
think
him,
about this.
right?
How
He
percentage
basically
cooked
just told his
is
lawyer,
Ramsey?
"Hey,
And I'll catch you on the next one.
yeah,
Are you guys enjoying the
I don't
stream
have
today?
any." Hey, can you save me? I don't have any evidence to save me. Can you save me? Oh, fuck. This is too good. This is juicy. This is fucking juicy. Fucking idiot. Oh, man. Anyways, this is Legal Mindset if you want to check him out. I'm very guilty, but not super duper guilty. No, I'm guilty, and I'm just not gonna levy any evidence to protect myself. I'm just gonna let it happen. See you guys. Anyways, there you have it. Legal Mindset if you want to check them out. Also at Tozy. Check them out as well. Thanks for watching.